Alright, UFC 290 kind of overshadowed the big breaking news about Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic finally announced this fight is going to happen in the great state of New York, where I'm from, MSG, which I am glad to say I will be going to this fight. Wow, I mean, I am excited as hell to see Jon Jones versus Stipe, a potential co-main event of Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards. You guys know how much of a big MMA fan I am, so you guys know I am probably going to scream like a little girl in that arena. But regardless, this is an interesting matchup, and I want to say this might be unpopular, but I do think that people are counting out Stipe Miocic now. Will I be picking him? I'm going to get into it. What are my initial thoughts? But I do think that it is a little bit of an interesting matchup to talk about. But first, hit the subscribe button, guys. We're trying to 20K by the end of the year, and you guys did really well in the last video to show me support. So many comments. I'm going to still look through them, reply to a bunch of them. I love talking to you guys about MMA, so do the same thing here. We're going to talk about it. I want to hear you guys' thoughts, even if you disagree. So yeah, just hit the subscribe button, and let's get into this video. Alright, Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic was the obvious fight to make after March 4th, where Jon Jones absolutely dominated Cyril Gane. We might as well have had a face-to-face in the Octagon, because we knew that this fight was going to happen, and yes, it was aimed for International Fight Week. Unfortunate that they didn't make this happen, but now it's here in New York, which, you know, works out for me because I get to see it. But yeah, this matchup has been, you know, made over and over again, canceled, scheduled, and so on and so forth. It was supposed to be even March 30th of last year. That was, I believe, the first time that they tried to target this fight, and this is going to be marketed, obviously, as the greatest heavyweight of all time, because yes, in the UFC, Stipe is probably the greatest heavyweight of all time. I would have a hard time arguing against any other one, maybe Cain Velasquez, but Cain Velasquez did suffer a lot of injuries in his career, so I think if he didn't have those injuries, I think we would be talking about him as the greatest of all time. But regardless, Stipe holds that title. He owns the most title defenses in UFC history. We know Sergey Pavlovich is not going to fight Jon Jones unless Jon Jones sticks around afterwards, which this honestly might be his retirement fight. This is his home state. He has said that he wants to retire at MSG against Stipe, so this could be the last we see of Jon Jones. How much of a chance does Jon Jones have at beating Stipe? And we just heard a big news, and why I'm super excited for this card is that Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury was also announced, kind of. Ariel Helwani said that there's going to be an announcement coming soon, and he's a very reliable source. You know, he's not just going to be putting out random shit and false stories. He has a reputation that he wants to put on the line, so I believe that this fight is going to happen, and according to Ariel Helwani, it is going to be happening within a few weeks span of UFC 295 with Jon Jones and Stipe, so it's kind of the two heavyweight champs. Even though Francis obviously isn't in the UFC, he left as the champion. It's a big deal. Everybody still kind of looks at him as kind of a champion, regardless if you think Jon Jones could beat him or not, which I do believe Jon Jones would beat him. So I believe that the UFC is really going to want to make a statement with this card, make it really good, make this a whole event, because there is a chance that that Tyson Fury Francis Ngannou fight doesn't do well. Yes, I think a lot of us MMA fans are going to be watching it, but you gotta wonder, the boxing fans is where Fury gets his pay-per-view from, and let's be honest, Fury clearly ducked Usyk. Are the boxing fans really going to stand up for this, or are they really going to say, hey, let me buy a Tyson Fury pay-per-view, or will this do over 1 million buys because you have the boxing and MMA fans coming together? I don't know. We're going to talk about that when it gets closer. I don't really think that deserves its own video, just because I think we obviously know what's going to happen, and I'll talk about it probably when it gets officially announced if there's nothing else to talk about. But back to this fight, Jon Jones is obviously the greatest of all time. In my opinion, I think it's undeniable. Unless you're going to want to talk about steroids, then fine, I'll excuse that argument. But if you know you're including everybody that has popped, you gotta say Jon Jones, his accolades, his finishes, level of opponents. I mean, Jon Jones is really good and obviously one of the smartest fighters. And he's going to be fighting Stipe, and look, Stipe, there's a lot of concern about Stipe. And I want to get this out of the way. I'm picking Jon Jones. So before I make any other argument, let that be clear. I am picking Jon Jones. And why I think Jon Jones will definitely win is because, look, Stipe has been out of the cage 2.5 years when this fight takes place. It is also well known that in the meantime, it wasn't like he was training every day, bulking up. The guy was a full-time firefighter at one point. The guy is also getting older. He's over 40 years old. Like, all of this is bad. Also, Stipe just got brutally knocked out by Francis Ngannou. You gotta wonder, is that chin going to be able to hold up, or is that forever gone? Francis does hit hard, yes. We also have seen Stipe, you know, be able to take big shots. Like, you know, I do see people saying, you know, Jon Jones by first round knockout. I don't think that's what's going to happen. But here's why I think it's interesting if we're talking prime for prime, like assuming this is Jon Jones now versus a prime Stipe. So really just prime versus current Jon Jones, I mean. But this matchup reminds me a lot of Alexander Gustafsson, because we have a taller guy against Jon Jones, really good at boxing, and if we could see, you know, Stipe defend those takedowns of Jon Jones, making this a boxing match, I think Jon Jones has struggled the most in his career with boxing. You look at the Dominic Reyes fight, it was boxing. The Alexander Gustafsson fight, boxing, and yes, Jon Jones actually has said that he's been working on his boxing the past few years, and his boxing did look improved, I gotta say, in that Cyril Gane fight, as long as it lasted. We saw him slipping a lot of Cyril Gane's straights, trying to catch that lead leg and go for takedowns, punches, you know, just countering off of that, and we know Jon Jones is going to come in with a meticulous game plan against Stipe, so we really got to watch tape on him to see what Jon Jones is going to do. First of all, I want to say this, who can Jon Jones out wrestle Stipe? I don't know, man, because, you know, it was kind of even with DC. It wasn't like, you know, DC dominated him on the ground, neither did Stipe, but we did see Jon Jones do really well against DC, and granted, that was Jon Jones a long time ago, and Jon Jones, you know, proven to be on the sauce at the time, but he could still be on it if we're going to be honest. And there's also a whole nother weight class. The power is different. There's a lot of question marks still about Jon Jones in heavyweight because we just saw him dominate Ciryl Gane, and we knew Ciryl Gane had a grappling problem. So really, there's still a lot of unanswered questions about Jon Jones, like how is he in the later round? How is he going to be against Stipe? Because I think Stipe for sure is going to be a harder matchup than Ciryl Gane. I think after what we saw on March 4th, I think we could all agree Jon Jones probably beats him 10 out of 10 times that night at least. And we're going to see if Ciryl Gane, does better in his fight with Sergey Spivak. But I really like this matchup because, look, I think Stipe has a chance, but I am going to be picking Jon Jones, like I said. I think on the ground, I'd probably pick Jon Jones to out-wrestle Stipe. I know MMA/wrestling math doesn't work all the time, but I'm just going off of the fact that, DC wasn't able to really dominate Stipe, and Jon Jones was on the ground, at least in their first fight. But the second part of things is how will it be on the feet? And I think Jon Jones is going to have to get his boxing a little bit better. If Stipe manages to press Jon against the fence, we see, Jon Jones kind of uses his height to his advantage, kind of sticks his lead hand out to kind of just get some distance to get away from his opponent. That's not going to work at heavyweight. If you're behind the fence and you have Stipe in front of you, that's not going to work because Stipe will land something and it'll hurt Jon Jones. So if he's got Jon Jones backing up and, Stipe kind of lands a big shot with Jon Jones, extending that lead hand, that could be a problem for Jon Jones. But at distance, I don't know. I think Jon Jones could really do well, mixing up with the leg kicks. We know Stipe's not much of a kicker. He has really short legs. He's going to be mostly boxing. And I just feel like Jon Jones has so many diverse tools for Stipe. And prime Stipe versus Jon Jones, I honestly don't know who I would pick. I'd probably lean towards Jon Jones anyway, but it's an interesting matchup for sure. But I think in this day and age of what we've seen from Stipe as of late, which is basically nothing except for him being a full-time firefighter/family man, and Jon Jones spending the last 3 years bulking up for heavyweight and fighting, I think we can expect ring rust from Stipe. I think he just has to really pressure Jon Jones to win this matchup. And even then, Jon Jones could try to go and take him down. We see Jon Jones adding a lot of trips to his arsenal because I don't think he wants to match strength with heavyweights because, yes, maybe Jon Jones could be stronger and technically better, but still, it's probably a lot more taxing to go strength for strength with a heavyweight rather than get those trips, rather than get them off balance like he did with Ciryl Gane. And I'm just excited to see Jon Jones' game plan going into this one. Can he finish Stipe? I don't know. I think he might finish Stipe. It's sad to say. And it's also sad to see, Stipe come back out of retirement just to get knocked out or finished. But I just think right now, Jon Jones and Stipe are in two different places right now. I just don't think it's going to work for Stipe. I think the best hope is that, yes, we've seen Jon Jones struggle in boxing range. Dominic Reyes hurt him with an uppercut. And Stipe, obviously he's a heavyweight. He's going to hit hard. He knocked out DC with his hands. And according to a lot of people who's fought Jon Jones apparently doesn't really hit so hard, at least with his hands. So I don't think he's going to knock him out with his hands. I think we're going to see, Jon really attacking the lead leg, calf kicks, stomp kicks, all those kind of things, side kicks, getting distance, making it a kickboxing match, mixing in with the wrestling. I think that's probably going to be his game plan. And Stipe is a guy that doesn't get tired. He's a guy that can hit hard, has good boxing, and he does have some skills, but I just think the time off mixed with the fact that he just got brutally knocked out, mixed with the fact that you have to wonder even his motivation going into this one. Like, it's just a money fight at the end of the day. Like if he was really motivated, he would have fought Jon Jones last year. Jon Jones has been down to fight even in 2022. So you would have thought that Stipe would, want to fight Jon Jones. So you gotta wonder, does he even want to do this? Like, how is he going into this fight? Does he just want money? I have no clue. But I'm gonna be excited to see the fight nonetheless. And most of all, I really hope Colby Covington's on that card so we can see Colby and Jon Jones go back at each other. As you guys know, they have beef, some serious beef actually. Apparently they went to the same college. And obviously if you've seen Colby Covington talk about Jon Jones, he does not hold back. And it'll probably be very uncomfortable if I go to the press conference. But yeah, November 11th, I'm so excited, guys. Let me know what you guys think is going to win, because at the end of this, no matter who wins, we might just have a vacant heavyweight title. That's a possibility that might happen. We could see in the beginning of the year they have a vacant title fight, maybe between Pavlovich and the winner of Spivak versus Gane. But we're planning to ahead of the future, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm going to answer all of it. You guys are the best fan base in MMA. Let me know what card you're most excited for so far. You guys truly always support me, and I'm super excited for this matchup. Super excited for Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury as well, because although we know what's going to happen, I'm still interested to see how good is Francis Ngannou in boxing. We know he has the power, but at the end of the day, if Deontay Wilder wasn't able to knock out Tyson Fury, I don't think Ngannou will, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, guys. Let me know what you guys want to see next. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, you guys are the best fan base in MMA, and I'll see you guys in the next one.